on the February 2025 What's Neat.
Joey Giunto does an amazing interview with master modeler Sam Zidek.
The layout's based at basically 50s and 60s, early 60s. It's kind of when I grew up. That's basically what keeps me going. I like building the kits, and then I scratch build. And
The What's Neat Show is sponsored by Lombard Hobbies, your value hobby shop for over 40 years of modelers helping modelers. Big inventory, value pricing, fast shipping, and great service. And by Broadway Limited Imports, the cutting-edge leader in model trains. Check out their website at broadway-limited.com. And by Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com. And thank you for helping us support the best hobby in the world. This is What's Neat for February 2025. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, and this month we look at some amazing new models from Broadway Limited Imports. Also this month, Dan Scheidell shares with us some of the most amazing drone footage. I love modeling ideas from above, again, because it shows you exactly the way our model should look. And this month, there's an interesting segment in his video where there is a cutout, where the railroads had cut out and just removed a mountain, but right next to it is the original tunnel porthole. What a great thing to model, and from a drone's perspective, all the answers are there. It's some really neat footage. Also, I do a follow-up on a very long train. I actually run a train all the way around the entire room where the locomotives are literally touching the last car on the train. It was like 320 cars, and that's just a follow-up from last month. Joey Giunto does an amazing interview with master modeler Sam Zidek. I mean, this gentleman's work is absolutely amazing. Joey, thank you so much for the interview. Just absolutely a great takeaway. And of course, we've got all the new products for this beginning of winter season of 2025 from Bachmann Industries. So with that, be sure to check out the What's Neat This Week video show. We've just passed 300 shows where we keep you updated on what's new in the hobby every single week with special guests, lots of new products, and otherwise just hobby shop banter 101. It's a great show just to be part of. It's your show, the What's Neat Weekly Podcast. And with that, let's continue on with the rest of this February 2025 What's Neat. There have been so many What's Neat videos in the past where I've started out the little segment saying, hey, what's Ken Patterson doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? Because you know I'm generally trying to be awake 24 hours because this hobby's got so many facets. There's just no limit, no time for sleep. Anyway, show 300, we pulled 300 cars. And during that show, towards the end, after we shot that show, we got that train to go 32 miles an hour, being pulled by 4 Broadway Limited engines. It was great. I want to get that train off my layout so I can have my main line back. And so today, before I take the entire train off, Saturday night when we did that, we went through the entire train and made sure that all the wheels on the consist were the very best wheels in the basement. So all those Rapido cars have got great wheels, and our mountain stuff's got great wheels. All of the reefers, most of those both in Santa Fe and the Southern Pacific consist of reefers, PFE reefers and what have you, those have all got Kato wheel sets on them. So what I've done is for this quick segment. And this won't be crazy like where we're running around the room counting cars. Trust me when I say it. I've got 4 Broadway Limited locomotives on this locomotive, or on this consist. And right now, if you look right here, I am right at, there's no room to fit the bobber caboose. I had a bobber caboose I wanted to put in there. This train has got 31 inches of coupler slack in it. The drawbar pull on it, and I videotaped me measuring this, was in fact under 14 ounces. And there's more cars on this train than when I shot it for Show 300. There's about 320 cars on this train, and they're not all short, they're various lengths now. So I'm gonna power this train up. The locomotives weigh 5 pounds, 10.5 ounces. I weighed them on the scale. And as I recall, I believe the Broadway Limited engines here that you're looking at, those SD70s weigh around 2 pounds apiece, and the 4-axle units weigh around 14 ounces apiece. I did a drawbar test with the Broadway Limited locomotives, and I think they had a drawbar pull of around 5 ounces, if I remember correctly. And drop in the 4-axle units, it's easy, I guess, to pull this train, which is weighing in at just under 14 ounces. So without further ado, there it is, front to back. It is literally running 157 feet around the room. How fast can I make it go? What would happen if it wrecks? I don't know. But I just thought I would share it with you. I will never probably do this stunt again. The biggest train I ever ran prototypically was a 135 car coal train that would run behind my house 3 or 4 times a week. And when I modeled my own property, the Bluff, I had to have that train, but it was so monotonous because it was so the same. I kind of just decided to get rid of it. But that's crazy. You were looking at a train running around the entire basement. Just the sound that it's making. I'm sure the video camera's not picking that up because the furnace is probably drowning it out. As we've got about 8 inches of snow outside, but this is what I'm doing on this cold, snowy night at 12:30 in the morning, and I can't wait to get this train off my main line now. But it's definitely, if nothing else, in miniature, as in the prototype, this is a testament to what prototype railroads really are. Technology of over 150 years old hasn't changed because it was so well engineered to begin with. And that's this quick segment for What's Neat.
On this segment of What's Neat, I am with Sam Syzdek here in Mulberry, Arkansas. Sam, how did you get started in model railroading?
Well, like I said, I always liked trains. Ever since I was just a little guy, I just always watched trains. And as when I got married, the wife knew I liked trains. So about a year or two after we were married, this little box showed up in the mail and had a little train set in it. Just a little round circle and a little locomotive and a few cars. And I set that up and I thought, well, this is pretty neat. So next thing you know, I bought a sheet of plywood, laid it on the bed in a spare bedroom, and started painting the streets on it. And got a little more track and made it go a little bit bigger. And so then we moved. So that, of course, it didn't take much to take that down. But when we moved, I said, I've got to have a train room. Well, first I was in a bedroom, a third bedroom, and it was small. So. And I had a little layout set up there around the wall, and I thought, well, that closet is in the way. So next thing you know, she's at work, and I'm in there with a crowbar and a hammer, and the closet's gone. So I got a little bit more room. And she said, well, I don't think this is going to work. So I said, well, I need more room. She said, well, we'll build a train room in the backyard. So we did. Had it built, a little like 12 by 24 room. It was just all mine. Just open it up and there's mine. She said, go for it. So I built the layout in there, kind of little, not doing anything fancy, just kind of around the wall and had a little duck under to get it there. And so I did that for a few years and kept adding to it. So we decided that we needed to move up here to Arkansas.
And that's from, you lived in Houston, you said?
Well, I'm just outside of Houston.
Okay.
And so the whole layout came down, which there wasn't that much to it, but this trestle was built in that room because I'd had my mother-in-law, I had back surgery and I was off for a little while. She was over there and she helped me. She was a really sweet woman and she helped me build this trestle. And so that was the only part from the layout down in Texas. We cut the track and the only place we had to put it was on a little utility trailer, and it just kind of rode up 450 miles up here, and all I lost was a few pieces of foliage, and that was it. So that's where it started here. And when we got up here, we had built the garage, and this room is actually a room that's in the garage, but it's 16 by 24, and the two-car garage in the front. So this was going to be my train room, but there was no house. So we had to move all our stuff in here and live in this room, which meant that house had to get built pretty quick, and it did. So once we got the house built, this all became mine, and it just seems to I don't know, it just keeps growing. But the layout is pretty much, I don't have a lot of room left. If I want to move something, I'd have to take something out and put something else in. So, but I've gotten to where now I build a lot of dioramas, because you can do that. You can take, you can build it from, the layout's based at basically 50s and 60s, early 60s. It's kind of when I grew up. But if I want to build something modern, I can do that on a diorama, because, you can use modern vehicles and things like that. It's just different eras. So I do that a lot now. And that's basically what keeps me going. I like building the kits, and then I scratch build, and that's about it.
So speaking of scratch building and kit bashing, how did you get started? What inspired you to start your scratch building and kit bashing, or at least kit building?
Well, the kit building it was pretty good, but you're looking at the instructions, and I'm thinking, I can do things a little bit different. You don't have to follow the instructions. I mean, it's good to, basically follow the instructions to get the structure the way they want it, but then you can do your own tweaking to it. You can add this, or you can take that off, or you can make a different roof, or whatever whatever you want to do to make it personalized. And that's what I like to do, because you buy a kit and it shows it in the box. It looks like this. Well, okay. Well, basically it looks like that, but I like to change it up some.
Absolutely. And so what inspires you to say, hey, I want to build this, or I got to scratch build this?
Well, there are a lot of different things. There was a building about 4 miles from here that's just about to fall apart now. It was a big 2-story building, and from what I understand, it had been used as a community center, as a church, as a just different things. And now it's been abandoned since we've been here, and the roof is just about falling off of it. But I went down and I measured that building, and it needed to be saved some way, because even if I did it in just a model, the building is still here, and I took pictures of it and measured it and used all the scratch building materials, and I thought it turned out pretty good.
So you could say you like to preserve.
Yeah.
Preserve history, preserve things that we will see in real life, that may be the good side of the tracks or the bad side of the tracks, right? And all that kind of thing. So I see here this wonderful layout, and I also see some beautiful scenery that you have done. Talk about some of the rock work you have done, because we will go into your buildings, but I love to talk about a little bit of your scenery work as well.
Well, the rock work is something that you do first because it's on the backdrop, and just built a framework and used the paper towels, the hydrocal, and draped them over those, and put a little more hydrocal on them, and molded it to the shape that you want. There's not really a whole lot to it. The basic, once you get it up, then you got to paint it. But now that's where the wife comes in. She likes to paint. She likes to paint that stuff. She likes to paint the backdrop. She likes to paint buildings. She does a lot of it. There's things that she does that I can't do, because like the little metal roofing, you can cut those, but I never got the knack of making them look rusted. I mean, I could do it, but it looked like the whole thing was rusted. But she comes in and she can do it. Looks great. So she does my roofs for me on a lot of things.
So it's like her dollhouse that she never had,
right.
As she told us.
That's exactly what she said, at one time, because she likes working with the miniatures and things like that.
That's awesome. So I see here you collect a lot of Cotton Belt and Southern Pacific. Is the Southern Pacific your favorite railroad along with the Cotton Belt?
Southern Pacific, Cotton Belt, yeah, they're my favorites because that's what I grew up with. We lived in a little town right outside of Houston called Stafford, and the Southern Pacific main line ran through there, and I used to stand by those tracks and watch the trains all the time. And back then, they didn't, of course, you had enough sense not to stay on the track if a train was coming, but there was a train stopped one time, and there was a caboose, and there was a man standing on the end of the caboose, and I was walking down the tracks. And we got a little conversation. I'm just a kid, and he asked me what I want to be when I grow up. I said, I want to ride that caboose. And he said, well, I don't know about that. You probably need to consider your options. But anyway, it's just things like that. And I had an uncle that worked for Southern Pacific in Houston, and it was just something that you didn't see different roads. I mean, we didn't see much of Union Pacific. I think Mopac ran through Houston and things like that, but out where we were, it was SP and Cotton Belt. And they had Southern Pacific had the Sunset Limited at that time. It ran from New Orleans out to, I guess, LA. And I should stand by the track and watch that thing coming. You could hear it run F units with the daylight colors, and they'd come by, and you'd look in the windows, and the lights were on, people were in there, and you're like, wow, I wonder if I'll ever get to ride a train and go where these people are going. I wonder what they were doing, where they were going, that sort of thing. So, little town, though, we had like one grocery store, so. Yeah.
And so that inspired you to create these different scenes on the layout.
Yeah.
I say, let's go look at some of those scenes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Layout.
Okay, this is my kind of low rent, seedy area, which a lot of cities have them. These people don't like to admit it, but they're there. And this was a special edition kit from Scale, and for some reason it just attracted me. The wife wasn't too, I had to do a little talking to get her to let me buy it, but I think it adds a lot of character because, you get office buildings and things like that, but sometimes you make the wrong turn and you end up in this neighborhood, and then you wonder why you never saw it before. That's, it's there, but most people don't want to admit it, but it's part of life.
This is incredible, and not a lot of folks model stuff like this. So for you to do this, it makes it very unique.
That's what I like. I like unique. I don't like to have the same things that everybody else does. A lot of things are similar. You see a lot of the same kits and a lot of the same things that a lot of people have done, which is fine. But I do like to do some things different, and that's just me.
Talk about Willie D's for a second.
Now, Willie D's is a special. Willie D's is named after a band leader. That's what he calls his band, Willie D's. And he plays around Austin, and we still talk all the time. He remembers growing up and watching all the trains, and his dad, as a matter of fact, his dad got sick and wanted me to build a little layout. I put a little layout in their house in the back bedroom, and he remembers all that. And so I just saw that little kit, and it just reminded me of Little Bill. So that's where Willie D's came from.
So Sam, I see you have a Syzdek building. Talk about that one.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me because it was done by Randy Peprock at Downtown Deco. I didn't know he was going to do that. He just one day he just let me know that to look at his website or wherever it was, and I can't remember exactly, but I saw that and I thought, well, that was pretty neat because, I've done a lot of his buildings, and they're hydrocal, and a lot of people are afraid of hydrocal, but it's really very, very easy to do, and he sends instructions on what to do and what glues to use, what paints to use. And even if a piece breaks or something, he'll replace it. But if I've had pieces of hydrocal on the wall break, but you can just glue them back together, and then the little crack adds a little character to the building. So I really like that. That's one of my favorites.
That's awesome. Well, Sam, thank you so much for having us here. I would like to thank Mickey as well for the hospitality. You guys are fantastic. You have a beautiful layout, and we hope to see you soon. And this is this segment of What's Neat.
For this ending of February 2025's video, I've got Tyler Haney from Bachmann Industries all the way from beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with us tonight. And Tyler, you've got some new exciting products for this first quarter of 2025.
Yes, we do, Ken. We've got a couple of pre-production samples that I'm going to be showing off for the first time here on What's Neat. And we've also got some recent arrivals. Before I show off any of the models, I just want to show off, by the time that episode is airing, this will already have been out for a while, but that being our 2025 catalog will be available online and in print. And Ken, you of course did the cover photograph for us featuring the New York Central Dreyfuss Hudson.
Yes.
And I've got, I'm not sure if you've already seen this or not, but I've got a sample in hand of that catalog with the cover. And here it is.
Oh, wow, that came out decent. Oh, wow, that's nice. Oh, I love the fog effect. Oh, wow, good job, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, that is a recreation. I mean, that's just so what you see in the prototype books.
Yeah, it's based off a original New York Central advertisement from the 1930s. Got the Dreyfus Hudson front and center. You've got the standard J3A Hudson. You've got the 20th Century Limited observation car and the US Array 060. And Ken, you did a great job with the photography, and then our graphic design department added the Art Deco font. It's I think one of my favorite covers that we've ever done.
Good job. Yeah, I like it. In the March What's Neat video, next month you guys will be able to see a short segment on how that scene was built in 72 hours.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. So without further ado, I'll get into the new Bachmann models portion of this segment. And we're going to start off showing off the pre-production samples. These are the latest addition to our very popular Siemens Venture passenger car line. We've got two new variations of the Amtrak Midwest Venture cars, and these are the married pair cars. We've got, in my left hand here, we've got the coach class, and then in my right hand here, the business class.
Okay.
These cars on the prototype are semi-permanently coupled together, so they remain in a two-unit fixed set within the consist. They've got some subtle details from the first release, that being the door arrangements on the side. This represents the open gangway between the cars.
Okay.
The business class car is really the most distinct compared to the first release. You've got 4 doors, 2 on each side of the car, instead of just the 2 on the coach class cars. And you've got the handicap accessible high-level door with the wheelchair lift built in here.
You guys are on top of this. The tweaking of these cars, the small details between one prototypical run and another. And you know what? You just said something that you said that those cars are semi-permanently coupled together. And if you pull out the little instructions that come with that car, it's got these couplers that you can take off the McHenry couplers and put on these couplers that you guys have got. And I did a segment on a podcast about this with that other beautiful Canadian train that I've got around here that's on the layout actually. But when you couple these things together with the couplers that are semi-permanently coupled that you guys created for this, they're actually coupled a scale distance apart from each other too. It looks dynamite.
Yeah, it looks something like this. You have just like the minimum distance between the 2 cars. So
right.
Yes, those are included with all of our venture cars, including the Via Rail Canada cars as well. So look out for those later in 2025. And for those of you out there, as an N-scale modeler, too often I've known the struggle of seeing a great HO scale model and being like, when are we going to get that in N-scale? Well, I have here our engineering samples of the N-scale versions of the venture cars. And I have
so these haven't been out yet. You guys haven't done that in N-scale yet?
They are not. We announced them in our summer 2023, and we got these pre-production samples a few months ago. So these are also looking to ship in 2025. Got the again the Amtrak Midwest version.
Okay.
Yeah, compared with the HO. And one of the great thing about these N-scale cars is they have exactly the same level of detail and features as the HO cars do. You have on the Amtrak Midwest cars, you have the working marker lights that can be toggled on and off with a switch that's underneath the car.
Okay.
You've got all of the road name specific details from the door arrangement to the antennas to the underbody. You've got the interior specific to the car, whether it's a coach class or a business class. And here's the one of the Via Rail Canada cars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like the HO ones, designed directly from the Siemens engineering documents and approved by Siemens engineers. We'll also be doing the DCC sound-equipped cab car in N-scale, just as we are in HO in conjunction with TCS. So I think these are going to be some of the best N-scale passenger cars on the market.
Good job, Tyler. I love it. I love it when a model manufacturer is confident. I mean, that's just credibility right there. But you guys have done the research. You gentlemen are working with the company that actually builds them. So it's just so amazing the quality of models we get with all the technology that's at the fingertips of the manufacturers.
Yeah, it's really cool, to do things that we could have only dreamed of 50, 55 years ago when Bachmann first started doing N-scale trains. So on that note, I'm going to show off a couple of recent arrivals. These are shipping out and available at dealers now by the time you're watching this. And we'll do some more N-scale products. Why not? We've got our completely redesigned, brand new SD40-2 locomotive in N-scale. These are DCC sound value with economy decoders equipped. We've got 4 road names. We've got the Santa Fe, Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, and CSX.
Okay.
As I mentioned, these are we've done a couple of SD40-2s in N-scale in the past, but these are completely redesigned with more accurate proportions, much finer detailing. You've got all kinds of separately applied road name specific details on these. You've got the sunshades, you've got ditch lights on the front here, non-functional ditch lights. You've got an optional front plow. The CSX here does not have it, but
Okay.
the road names that would be equipped with it, like the Union Pacific, have the front plow. So it's a very, very popular locomotive, in terms of road name variety and just how many of them were built back in the 1970s. So it's something that we think there's been, there'll always be a lot of demand for those modelers in the 1970s all the way up to the present day. So very happy with how this turned out as well.
Nice.
And for those of you who are modeling an era that's a little bit earlier than that, we have some more N-scale passenger cars here. These are available now, and these are the Fleet of Modernism Pennsylvania Railroad cars in N-scale. It's a paint scheme that was in use from the late 1930s into the late 1940s, designed by Raymond Loewy, the same man who designed the GG1 and many other locomotives and all kinds of industrial design work. Very sharp paint scheme with the pinstriping here. So these were specifically brought out to complement the streamlined K4, also a Raymond Loewy design that we did a couple years ago. We've got 3 road names for the coach for the Fleet of Modernism paint scheme, or 3 road numbers, all for Pennsylvania. And of course, we have the matching observation car to bring up the rear of the train. All of these with detailed interiors and LED lighting.
Very, very cool.
Mm-hmm. And now we're going to go to finish this off. I got a couple of products to show going from N scale all the way up to large scale. Here's our large scale speeder.
Okay.
Just a very diminutive item for large scale. But just to give an idea of the size comparison for those who may not be familiar, speeder is completely operational, front and rear, forward and reverse operation. You've got an operating headlight on the front and a blinking LED safety light on the roof here. We've got 2 new road names available now for the speeder. We've got the New York Central in the Jade Green or Century Green, depending on how you like to call it. Got 2 painted detailed workman figure inside. Then we had to do something a little fun. Of course, Christmas just happened, but it's never too early to start thinking about Christmas 2025. So we've got the North Pole and Southern Elf Express here with the 2 little elves inside. It's the number 1 half because it's not quite big enough to be a full number. So
perfect.
Yeah, and you got some candy cane safety striping on it as well. So those are available now, and also available now is our latest 1 to 29 scale large scale freight car. For those of you who have gotten our Dash 9s and GP40s, we've got the Evans boxcar.
Good job. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful cars. Those things track fantastic. They hold up good in the sun. I have had some of those. I'm telling you, I put them to the test.
Yeah, you definitely do.
They also look really good when the sun fades them. They look fantastic. They're ready for weathering.
Yeah. So we brought this car out a couple years ago with the end of train device installed. This most recent release does not have the end of train device, but they're perfect, to fit in the middle of your train and expand your consist. Just giving you an idea of the level of detail that goes into this. You've got the underbody with all the brake rigging, separately applied piping. You've got separately applied ladders and metal stirrup steps there.
Nice.
You've got separately applied metal handrails on the end of the car. You've got metal wheels, which these cars did not originally come with Aristocraft. All of the Bachmann rolling stock comes with metal wheels and the working knuckle couplers. And we've got 5 road names for these. We've got some of the same ones that we did with the end of train device, Santa Fe, Railbox, CSX, and Norfolk Southern, and Tropicana, which is a new road name for these cars. Gotta love the Tropicana juice train. And we've got 2 road numbers for the Tropicana cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, good job.
So that's what we've got for recent releases in Bachmann this month. Of course, we're always cooking up great new products in all the scales here at Bachmann. Once again, check them out in the 2025 catalog. You can view it online or order a print copy at bachmanntrains.com or pick it up from your local hobby shop today.
It's not just the picture. I'm looking at it. I'm mesmerized. It's the graphics. It's the way you've made it look like that 1928, 1930-ish. If you saw an advertisement in an old magazine back then, it would look like that. But anyway, okay, good job.
Yeah.
So Tyler, we really appreciate it. I also want to say, guys, check out Bachmann's show that they're doing. It's on Tuesdays. It's a kind of a lineup of a lot of different things that's going on in you guys' world out there in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's right. We live stream on our Facebook and YouTube. It's New Model Monday Live, so it airs live on Mondays. But of course, Ken, you with your schedule, I don't. You follow up on Tuesdays. So
no, I appreciate it. You guys have got a great team right now. I mean, this decade of Bachmann, it's just going to be fantastic. So with that said, this is just a happy show. This is the end of the February 2025 What's Neat. Thank you very much, Tyler.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
All right, rock and roll. Best hobby in the world.
All of the products seen on this episode of What's Neat are available from Lombard Hobbies in Lombard, Illinois, or order online at lombardhobby.com.
And by Broadway Limited Imports, the cutting-edge leader in model trains. Check out their website at broadway-limited.com.
Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com.